Greetings and welcome to the last week of Morrowind's Modding Madness. Over the last week, our 4 teams have built and released 4 quest mods for our third week's challenge to build a quest mod of some sort. And we'll most likely have showcases of those out sometime tomorrow, but until then we do have our popular vote poll up for you to cast your votes for your favourite quest mod of the competition. You can find a link to that down in the video description below, along with download links for all the quest mods that each team submitted. But in the meantime, the scores are in for the Items Mod Challenge, so let's see how each of our teams fared, shall we? Once again, I do need to apologise for the frame rate issues we have here. With each week, this area is only getting more and more dense, so frame rate issues are probably going to continue to be a bit of a problem. But anyway, face off we have Team Green Cow, composed of AutoClock, EnclaveKiller and SC Engineer 99. And Team Green Cow scored a 8.05 out of 10 for the Items Mod Challenge, with both judges and the popular votes alike enjoying the crazy and random effects that Suvanto's Shop of Curious Creations provided. Now, overall, Team Green Cow scored a 5.05 out of 6 possible points from our judges and 3 out of 4 possible points from the popular vote, putting them solidly in second place to the Items Mod Challenge, just slightly behind Team Wretched Netch. And overall, the House Mod Challenge, Team Green Cow has risen to the score of 14.8 points in total, making them essentially tied with Teams Wretched Netch and Flying Guars, and very close to Team Cutie Kagouti. Technically, they are in second place now. And we'll be looking at the rest of the overall scores in a moment, but surprisingly, all teams are very close in score, and whoever wins the Quest Mod Challenge will probably take the lead in the competition. But moving on, next up we have Team Flying Guars, composed of TheDrunkenMudcrab and MementoMoritius. Team Flying Guars scored a 7.05 out of 10 for the Items Mod Challenge, putting them in third place. The judges gave the Malhim Weapon Companion mod a 4.55 out of 6 possible points, giving the mod, high marks for innovation and decent marks on judge preference, but knocking the mod for poor functionality with a dialogue loop bug that has since been fixed. And they also got 2.5 points from the popular vote, placing about in the middle of our online poll. And overall, this puts Team Flying Guars at a score of 14.65 points, putting them in last place overall, falling from their previous second place position, but within striking distance of Teams Green Cow and Wretched Netch, being just a fraction of a point behind. So if they do well on the Quest Mod Challenge, they may well rise back up to second place. But anyway, our next and still tallest tower is Team Cutie Kagouti, composed of R0, Digmen and Povuholo. Team Cutie Kagouti scored a 7 out of 10 for the Items Mod Challenge, putting them in last place for this round, though not far enough, behind to lose their coveted first place position overall. And Issue of Thrust received 5 out of 6 possible points from the judges, getting overall high marks from the judges on judge preference and decent marks on innovation, though it did get knocked a bit on creativity. It also got 1 point from the popular vote, which is probably what doomed the team to last place for this round, since a majority of the votes went to the other teams. Overall, Team Cutie Kagouti has a total score of 16.35, putting them, in first place, but within striking distance of the other teams, since they're now, less than 2 points ahead. Whether or not Kagouti's tower falters next week will rely largely on the strength of their quest sword and this final upcoming challenge. And, finally, we have Team Wretched Netch, composed of Greatness 7, MatthewTheBagel, and VvardenfellTribez. Team Wretched Netch scored a 9.2 out of 10 possible points for the Items Mod Challenge, putting them in first place, and also winning the Items Mod Challenge of the competition. Both the judges and the popular vote fell in love with the classic Daedric artifact and the introduction quest and dungeon that went along with it. The Wabberjack got a score of 5.2 out of 6 from the judges, getting, high marks on innovation and judge preference, as well as a 4 points from the popular vote, as people absolutely loved this little mod. And overall, this puts Team Wretched Netch at 14.95 points in total, more than making up for the incomplete house mod and claiming second place in the competition through, a rather surprising twist. Though with a wary gaze back at Team Green Cow and Team Flying Guars, which are, only about 0.15 and 0.3 points behind them respectively. With a solid quest mod entry, Team Wretched Netch could gain first place, or falter and fall back into last. Only time will tell what happens next. This certainly is getting a bit exciting, isn't it? But anyway, now that we've reviewed the scores for each team and their overall placement currently in the competition, it's time to reveal this week's modding challenge. So let's head on up to the platform and see what Sheogorath has in store for us in this final week of Morrowind's Modding Madness. And let's see, we have an NPC mod, which is rather interesting and certainly better than a replacer. Thank the Divines we didn't get that this week. Anyway, this week's challenge is to build and release an NPC or creature mod of some kind on the Nexus or Great House Kagouti by January 3rd. And just to explain a bit about this category, an NPC or creature mod can be any mod that adds new NPCs, creatures, or modifies existing NPCs or creatures. So, you know, things like companion mods, creature diversity mods, or, yes, technically even creature replacer mods are all good for this category. Best of luck to all the teams, and may the most Sheogorath-inspired vision of madness win!